Over this past year, we completed our transition of image silo from our own data centers to Amazon Web Services, AWS. And that was a major undertaking. What was particularly difficult about it was all of our customers are still adding, updating, deleting, just doing their everyday work on image silo. All the while we're transitioning them over from physical data centers here in Nebraska and in Colorado to Amazon Web Services without them ever even being affected by it. I'm proud of the team. I'm proud to say that we were able to successfully accomplish that with no user impact and really didn't put anybody out in the whole process. As part of that transition, we moved all of our customer data over to Amazon S3 Storage. S3 provides data durability that's measured in nines, so it's 11 nines of durability. We take the additional steps of replicating that data to another geographic region. So that other geographic region is also going to have its own availability zone, its own data centers, its own servers. So all of that, everything that we just did when we first wrote that data, we're going to do a second time on the other side of the country. Simply put, we've taken every step we possibly can to ensure the safety and security of our customers' data. All of our customers' data is fully encrypted before it ever even goes into Amazon's hands. So before it gets written to S3, it's encrypted using AES 256, which is the gold standard for encryption. And if the user has defined encryption keys to use for encrypting their data, great, we'll use those encryption keys. If they haven't set that up yet, we will automatically generate new encryption keys, very long encryption keys, completely random encryption keys that will get used to encrypt their data and ensure that it is completely and totally secure. S3 provides data durability that's measured in nines, so it's 11 nines of durability. What 11 nines means is that if you're storing 10 million documents, you can expect it to take 10,000 years before you've lost even a single document. Quite simply put, there's no storage platform out there that can exceed that level of data availability, data security, data durability. And this is accomplished by having every time we write a document into S3 that's simultaneously written to multiple servers across multiple data centers, across multiple availability zones, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But needless to say, all of that data is being written simultaneously to many different locations to ensure that there's no possibility of ever losing it. As I've indicated in the past, a big part of why we moved to AWS is because of the level of availability and redundancy that we can offer to our customers. Amazon, the hierarchy is such that they've got data centers, and these data centers are in collections that are called availability zones. And these availability zones are all located very close to each other. Each individual availability zone shares nothing with another availability zone. So this availability zone's got multiple data centers within it, but it shares nothing with any of the other availability zones. And then we have multiple availability zones that make up a geographic region. So for instance, here in the United States, all of our customer data exists in the Northern Virginia region. And so within that region, there are between 4 and 6 availability zones that we are storing all of our customer data and running all of the operations out of all of those availability zones simultaneously. And then with each of those availability zones, there are data centers within those availability zones, which are all doing our work. And then within each of those data centers, there are umpteenth or dozens or hundreds of different servers that are all serving our customers' data. So we could lose entire data centers without anybody knowing. We could lose entire availability zones without anybody ever knowing. We can lose we can lose multiple availability zones, and none of that would ever affect any of our customers. So we're talking about before anybody would even notice anything, we would have to lose an entire geographic region. And my engineers like to equate losing a region with having the entire eastern coast of the United States fall off the map. And in the event that something major were to happen, we've got all of the data replicated into Oregon, into the Oregon geographic region, which has its own availability zones, its own data centers, and its own servers. And so we can stand up a duplicate image silo in the Oregon region within about 1 business day of having a failure that would be the equivalent of losing the eastern seaboard of the United States. That's something that we could never do before with our own data centers. We picked Northern Virginia because it is kind of like the granddaddy of all regions. It is the region that when Amazon rolls out new products and services or new types of servers and makes those available, that's one of the first ones that actually gets it. And it would seem that it's also their largest region. So they maintain scale at that far beyond what we've seen in some of the other regions. We picked Oregon so we'd have a completely different power grid supplying the data centers for the secondary region. Additionally, we have our environment designed such that if an individual server goes down or is going to go down, we automatically just take that out of the rotation and insert other servers to replace it. All the while, customers never are aware of any of that. There's just so many of them running, and our ability to redirect traffic to only the healthy servers is something that we've really never had quite this level of control of. From a customer standpoint, they'll notice that the service is considerably more responsive. We don't have slowdowns, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But from an operational standpoint, we gained incredible levels of availability or redundancy, as well as scalability. Now, when I talk about redundancy or availability, keep in mind that Image Silo over the last 19 years of operation has been able to achieve almost 5 nines of availability over 19 years. So for us to be able to further increase that availability or that redundancy, that's a pretty exciting step forward. AWS also affords us the ability to offer our services operating directly out of foreign countries. So if there are regulatory requirements that require that we operate out of a different country for the customers in that area, we now have that available to us. We can spin up an environment in pretty much anywhere in the world quite easily. So whereas in the past, the barrier of entry was in cost justifying building out a physical data center in that other country and then operationally running that data center and supporting that data center. Now we can just take advantage of AWS's equipment in that area, spin out our environment there and run it from here in the US at a much lower barrier of entry. Another one of the big reasons that we chose Amazon is because of the levels of performance and scalability that we can get out of our environment running there. We are constantly monitoring the health and load on all of our servers. And this is all being done automatically so that in the event that we have a larger than normal load coming in, we automatically scale out by adding more servers. And when that load is reduced, we automatically scale back to, save money from having unused capacity sitting out there. This is going on constantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the expansion and contraction of what's being utilized by the servers. So this means that if we suddenly had 10 or 100 times the load hit us, customers are never going to notice that. It's just automatically scaling out. The other thing that we can do is we can scale up and down. So if we were to release a new version of Image Silo that had larger requirements for the servers, we can, with just a few clicks, change all of our servers so that they're running as a much larger type, scaling up. And then simultaneously, we can continue to scale in and out for the number of servers that are supporting all of that. What I find exciting is that we literally have unlimited scalability. It doesn't matter how far we grow or what sudden load comes on us. It's not going to have any detrimental impact on our customers. We're able to take that unlimited scalability and utilize that to help us with upgrades. Whereas in the past, we had to take, when we were operating a physical data center, we had to take servers out of the pools and upgrade those servers and then bring them in and try to cut people over, and we're using part of the pool of servers for the new version and part of the pool on the old version. Now, because we've got unlimited scalability, we can spin up the entire environment using all the new servers and then just allow our customers to gradually trickle over from one version to the next. Because we've got this unlimited capacity, we can keep the old stuff still running. Just in the event that there's a need to go back to the older version, we can easily do that. So from an operational standpoint, upgrades of Image Silo have changed dramatically for us for the better. We've had questions about how our partners could reference Amazon certifications to help them with their compliance. And Amazon has made this incredibly easy with the AWS Compliance Center. And that can be located at www.atlas.aws. Everything we've done has been uniquely designed to continue our 19-year tradition of delivering the most robust, highly available, scalable, feature-rich content management and business process management service in existence.